Okay, guys, welcome back to another live stream. Of course, today we have a few topics. We're going to be talking about Kering's 2024 financial report. We'll be talking about people discussing Kendrick Lamar's Celine jeans, and also we'll be talking about why experiences are the new luxury. I hope everyone is doing really good. I hope all of you are well. Thea says good morning. Good morning to you too, even though it's evening over here in the UK. But yeah, I think with the Kering financial report, we should probably just go straight into it because there's a lot to talk about. Like, there's a lot of stuff to go through, to be honest. Yeah, finally, I'm here for live from the beginning. Hey, welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to a live from the beginning. So, anyway, jumping straight into it. Let's talk about Kering's financial performance. What I'm gonna do first is I'm going to go through the presentation, kind of give an overview of what was said, and then we'll look at the report after. But to kind of give you a summary on what happened, Gucci sales were down 24% in the fourth quarter, which basically is kind of what we expected. It kind of just underlines a steep decline throughout the whole of last year when it came to the likes of Gucci. Of course, Gucci being the most important brand in Kering stable, when Gucci falls 24% in the last quarter, it meant that there was a 12% decline in sales from Kering. Now, it could have been worse, but a lot of that was actually offset by Bottega Veneta doing quite well, and Bottega was one of the bright sparks in the Kering stable compared to a lot of the other brands, to be honest. And there were so many products that sold via Bottega, especially the Intrecciato bags. Those were really, really good commercially. Those did really well. But it's interesting to see, how they plan on fixing the conglomerate, even though we've kind of had a sort of overall luxury slowdown. But anyway, this is the presentation, so I'll just run you through some of the key points that were made during the presentation. So, at the beginning of the presentation, Francois-Henri Pinault was essentially trying to tell people that they are really no longer, looking at short-term decisions, and they're really looking at long-term decisions that will make sure that the conglomerate moves forward in the long term. So he did warn people that, there could be a lot of issues in the short term, but if people are patient, they will see why you can't really build a sustainable business unless you make long-term decisions, which I found very interesting because that's what I've been saying the whole time. So I was like, okay, that's interesting. They first talked about Gucci. They talked about how they have obviously a plan and they're rolling out certain things. Of course, they have the Blondie bag here. The Blondie bag is a bag that they said has been picking up steam. Of course, they had the campaign. So they've kind of been doing the rollout with that. They have things like the Jackie bag, the luggage that they've also seen has been on an uptick. And then they talked about the heritage products. Talked about building their iconic things. Of course, here they have the Horsebit loafer. The Horsebit loafer is something that, of course, is very, very famous for Gucci and very key for the brand. Let me just change the slide so you can see it. It's very key for the brand. However, they were saying in their presentation that every time that they revamp the Horsebit loafer, they always see an uptick in sales of the original. So every season when they do either it was when Sabato was there, they did the Creeper Horsebit, or they did the ballet flats with the Horsebit, or when Alessandro Michele did, the Princeton's slipper and all sorts of things, even a loafer as well. Those did really, really well. So I'm interested to see how many more iterations they think they can push of these Horsebit loafers and push that forward. You can even see there, they were making the point that, they're on the mark with the trends, and that's kind of the part of Gucci that I didn't really like. They're talking about how they made their ballet flats with the Horsebit that was in line with trends at the time, and that there was demand for it, and people really wanted it. However, in my opinion, as a brand as big as Gucci, you're supposed to be setting the trends, not copying what Miu Miu is doing, if that makes sense. So, and when they did it, it kind of seemed a bit too late. It was way too many seasons too late. So they talked about that. It talks about some of their ideas for how exactly they're going to focus on a product strategy. So when it came to Gucci, they talked about the fact that they're continuing to reduce their focus on wholesale and they're going to sell less wholesale, and they are building the infrastructure to sell more direct to consumer and to, have better online presence and online sales via their own personal channels. So it'll be interesting to see if that catches on, if they are able to sell that much product direct to consumer, especially with the new price points that these luxury brands are pushing these days. I just find it all a bit insane. To be honest, I do find it a bit crazy. So here, of course, you can see the stores that took. This was what they showed when they were essentially discussing how they are really focusing on selling direct to consumer and doing less wholesale. Then they talked about Yves Saint Laurent, how Yves Saint Laurent is also on an uptick, talking about how a lot of the runway shows recently have been held in high esteem, which is very true. They talk about YSL continuing to build a fashion authority in the fashion industry, which I agree. I think that's definitely happening. They talk about the fact that they're giving Saint Laurent a higher repositioning. So they were talking about things like quality, talking about things like the fact that when it comes to YSL, it's all about the materials and it's all about silhouette. Do I believe them? Not really. I need to see the garments for myself. I'm not just going to believe what business people at Kering say that, oh yeah, we're focusing on the top-notch luxury when it comes to YSL. I had to see that for myself. So I'll wait. I'm going to go to the store and then see kind of what they're working on. Of course, they talked about Emilia Perez, which is a YSL-funded film. I think this is a car crash of a film. It's an absolute disaster. I've already made a video on it. And I find it really funny that in the presentation, they used the words cultural relevance and audacity. How out of touch could you possibly be? First of all, cultural relevance. Emilia Perez, once again, realistically, is seen as a film that depicts Mexican culture in a very disrespectful way with bad acting, people that don't speak Spanish that sounds Mexican, and then, disaster after the other, scandal after the other. Is that what they mean by audacity? Cultural relevance. Like, it's so out of touch with that part of the presentation. So I did find that really weird. Of course, they talk about Bottega Veneta. Bottega Veneta, once again, has been one of the really big bright sparks for Kering. It's a brand that has seen quite consistent growth, even during the luxury slowdown when all the brands were kind of suffering. All of them were bleeding. We saw the likes of Bottega Veneta still seeing growth. The Andiamo bag is obviously a bag that everyone loves, and it's really seen a lot of uptick, especially in 2024. They talk about, the craftsmanship, the goods desirability, the fact that Bottega Veneta has this ultra high-end positioning founded on its DNA. So this is something that they want to continue pushing forward as Bottega moves forward. They also talked about the fact that they launched fragrances and, they're working on Kering Beauty, which was, the Kering Beauty part was later on in the presentation. I found it quite interesting, actually, but we'll get there eventually. They also talked about, of course, the hiring of the new creative director, Louise Trotter, who is about to have a debut not too long from now. Then they also talk about highlights from some of the other fashion houses. Of course, Balenciaga being the brand that has the most relevant runway and couture shows. Of course, they brought things back like the Rodeo bag that's seen success. Not the Rodeo bag, sorry. They brought back the City bag that has seen a lot of success. But the Rodeo bag obviously has a lot of success too. And they launched the New York City store downtown that has seen some really good stuff. They talk about McQueen, how Sean McGear's second show saw a lot of uptick. A lot of critics really weren't as bad about it compared to his first show. They talk about Brioni, the fact that Brioni has really been seen now as like a brand that men are really buying and really interested in. Of course, they talk about Boucheron. They talk about all the other brands that they own and all the other companies. I'm not going to get into that because it's a lot. Um, then they talk about their project strategy. I've kind of touched on it. Moving forward, they're going to do less wholesale, more direct to consumer. They're focusing a lot more on experiences with a lot of their things, and they're also focusing a lot on Kering. So here you can see on the right hand side here what I'm highlighting. Wholesale downsizing, you can see they've mentioned that here, and they've talked about the store network that they're building, which will allow them to make sure that they can actually stay on top of selling direct to consumers and do that in big numbers, essentially. So here they kind of just talk about Gucci's distribution priorities, because of course Gucci is the top brand. So full price stores, they talk about it here. They talk about outlets, what they're doing online, redirection of e-concessions and business to Gucci.com. And then they talk about wholesale, reduction of doors. And they're saying that in 25, the revenue from wholesale is going to be down by 30%. Interesting. Let's see if this actually works, because I find it strange when you're losing that much money that you're removing wholesale and, kind of restricting the consumers that have access to these things unless they're buying things online, which doesn't really add to the luxury experience. So I think there's an issue with that fundamentally. Here they're talking about the client experience. Of course, they're talking about excellence in execution and quality. I don't really trust any of these brands when they talk about quality and all that sort of stuff. See, look here, they're talking about, operations and corporate being their main priorities. Not really the biggest supporter. This was interesting. Really big focus on Kering eyewear. The fact that they launched a lot of the Kering brand's eyewear in 2015, and they've been on a 10-year journey building it. They've built like a complete brand portfolio, and they're continuing to grow. Also, the fact that Kering eyewear brought close to 1.6 billion euros in revenue. They have distribution in 150 countries. They are also number 2 in the eyewear industry, which is quite impressive. And number 1 in the luxury eyewear segment. So as far as their eyewear side of the business is doing really well, and it's something that of course they want to focus on a lot more moving forward, which definitely understandable. This is the part that interested me because obviously me being a fragrance fan, I did touch on Kering Beauty not too long ago for you guys that follow the streams, but they've mentioned once again with the launch of Kering Beauty in 2023, which I've already said is very late. It talks about the fact that they started launching fragrances with a lot of their brands, Bottega Veneta, Balenciaga, McQueen. They acquired Creed in October 2023. In May 2024, they launched Bottega Veneta's exclusive candles. In October 2024, they launched Bottega Veneta's high-end fragrances. And in 2025, they are planning the launch of Balenciaga's high-end fragrances and really rolling out the Balenciaga fragrances. I think all of that is a good idea. I just think it's so late. I don't know why it took them this long to do that, and I will always maintain that understanding because really, really late. Really late. Even McQueen, they need to work on a fragrance. Most of their brands, to be honest. That's just the case. So they talk about their roadmap with Kering Beauty, the fact that they want to grow and leverage Creed as a platform. That's quite funny because I think Creed is falling out of favor with people that are into fragrances, if I'm going to be honest. So we'll see about that. We'll see about that. Love the Bottega wobbly bottles. They give me joy. I do like the bottles though. They are really fun. They are really interesting. They have like a really weird shape, and then the wood part as well is really cool. Some of you might not know kind of what they look like. Let me see if I can put it on the screen for you guys. But yeah, I think the problem with the fragrances though, I think the marketing has been a bit lackluster. I think the rollout has been a bit lackluster. What I will say though is that the bottle and the branding is great. I just think the marketing is a bit mid. And I also think that the fragrances aren't the most unique. And so when you have ultra expensive fragrances that aren't really unique smelling, they're not really going to attract like a fragrance audience. So you're trying to attract rich people that already buy Bottega, but are they going to buy Bottega fragrances when they've already been buying MFK or something like that? What would make them change to Bottega, especially if the smells aren't considered to be that interesting? I don't know. So we'll just have to see about that moving forward. Anyway, moving on, once again, they talk about launching first fragrances. They talked about the fact that they had great results of Bottega Veneta's collection of 5 very high-end fragrances. They talk about the Balenciaga exclusive collection and Bottega Veneta extension to launch in 2025. And then they talk about building their portfolio of fragrances and scaling. So they put a leadership team of beauty experts in place for Kering Beauty. They have foundations for all key functional teams and selection of suppliers. And they are building on their roadmap for the coming 4 years. So here they talk about more things on a roadmap. Not going to get into all of that because I don't want to bore all of you. But they talk about also investing with efficiency. They talk about, cash flow and cash flow generation and all these kind of things. And then we have the 2024 results. So in 2024, they had an overall revenue of 17.2 billion euros, which is a lot. They have a net financial debt of 10.5 billion euros. They employ 47,000 people. And you can see here that overall, they're down 12% from last year. So last year, they made 19.56 billion euros. And this year, they made 17.2 billion euros in revenue. So down 12%, which is a lot. That's a lot of money to be down when these companies, their only goal is to grow every single second. Like they just want to grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. So to be down that much, that's huge. That's huge. Yeah, it's 12% for Kering, not for Gucci. Gucci was actually down more than that. So yeah, crazy change, right? Insane change. They talk about some of the markets that, they are the biggest in. Asia Pacific made up 30% of their market. Japan specifically made up 8%. North America, 24%. Western Europe, 29%. And the rest of the world was 9%. So here you can see, once again, the retail income, their revenue, including e-commerce versus wholesale. So they had 60% wholesale and 24%. 76% retail, including e-commerce, and 24% wholesale. So they were saying moving forward, they want to rely less on wholesale, and they want this number for their retail, including e-commerce, to be higher. So they want to sell more direct to consumer because, of course, their profit margins are a lot higher that way. Then, of course, they've divided it by brand. So first you have Gucci. So in 2023, Gucci made 9.87 billion euros in revenue. In 2024, they made 7.650 in revenue. So 7.65 billion euros in revenue. So down by crazy numbers. Serious numbers down. It's what we expected though, because we could see the writing on the wall based on the performance of the first 4 quarters. The same is the case with Saint Laurent. Saint Laurent made 3.17 billion euros in 2023. In 2024, they made 2.88 billion euros. So they're down quite a lot. They were down by 7% just in Q4 alone. And then we have Bottega Veneta, the only seemingly one of the few bright sparks of Kering, especially when it comes to fashion. They made 1.64 billion euros in 2023, and in 2024 they made 1.71 billion euros, which is not a big jump. The falls of Gucci and Saint Laurent alone are way more than the jump of Bottega. So yeah, there's a lot of work that needs to be done, clearly. They've obviously laid out a plan and a strategy for how exactly they are going to achieve these things moving forward. And I think we just have to wait and see about kind of what their plans are moving forward. I think it's going to be interesting, especially with the Balenciaga fragrances. I'm looking forward to that and seeing how they rolled that out. But they really need to market these things properly, especially with the fragrances, because that rollout, like, guys, outside of us people in fashion, do you hear anyone talking about the Bottega fragrances? I just don't hear anyone talking about it. It's almost like it didn't launch. Like, there's no real buzz around it. No one really speaks about it. It's really odd. Really, really odd. So, yeah, anyway, that is the Kering report, guys. I just wanted to report on that because it came out today, actually. So it's really good to kind of discuss those things. Next, guys, we shall be talking about the infamous, we'll be talking about the infamous Kendrick Lamar jeans that he wore during his Super Bowl halftime show. Now, what I don't understand about the whole conversation around these jeans, right, is why people had their knickers in a twist that Kendrick Lamar was wearing, flares or bell buttons, whatever you want to call them. So to break down his outfit, let me see if I can Google his outfit so we can get a better look. Let me just tap my keyboard. Let's see if we can get a better image. Is this a better image? Kind of. But anyway, to break down Kendrick's outfits, he's wearing a custom jacket by Martin Rose. He's wearing Celine denim. That was, the cause of controversy. And everyone was talking about it because they're slightly flared. He's also wearing some Nike Air DT Maxes, which is really cool. But really, the star of the show was, what he was wearing on his legs. Now, it was really weird looking at the response. Of course, some of the response was kind of positive. There was just people that were joking around. Like, you look at some of the tweets and people saying he did all of that in kick flares. Imagine your op being a cutie patootie in flared jeans like Kendrick Lamar. Can't believe Kendrick did all that in the most Hannah Montana looking bootcut jeans I've seen in years. Even though they're not bootcut jeans, but okay. Kendrick has bootcut jeans, a 5'5" frame and a hater mentality, and I respect that. Kendrick's really a bad bitch in these jeans and I need them. Can you drop a link? Kendrick looking a little thick in these bootcut baby fat jeans. And then this was hilarious too. All the dudes searching for those Kendrick jeans after their wives' comments how much they like them. So there was kind of like a really funny response to it. Like people saying he looks like a baddie in those jeans. And then you had some people, maybe because they are Drake fans and they're a bit salty about, the whole situation that was going on. So they didn't really have great things to say, right? You look on Twitter and you see people saying, everyone's quick to call Drake zesty, but when Kendrick Lamar comes out wearing these jeans, everyone goes silent. And once again, what I don't understand about the internet or just men these days is what is wrong with men, working with different silhouettes of jeans? Like, I always say that it's good for men to have fun with fashion. It's quite boring just having straight jeans, slim fit and skinny jeans, and that's it for men and nothing else. I think it's actually great that he's wearing that. And then also, flare jeans actually look good on him. I like how they sit on the shoes. I honestly like how it looks. It looks great on him. I think the fit was great. I saw some people saying that it doesn't suit him because he's too short to wear that style of, trouser. I totally disagree. I think he looks absolutely amazing. And I also think that this might lead to a push to a lot of people wearing, this style of jeans. I saw an article via Dazed where they were talking about the fact that a lot of people in hip hop and a lot of celebrities recently, like you have the likes of Pharrell Williams, who has been dressing this way, and many other people who have, you look and it seems like for men, this sort of bell-bottom style is coming back. Obviously spearheaded by Eddie Simon. I mean, he is wearing Celine jeans designed by Eddie Simon. So it is kind of this bringing it back to this sort of grungy style of things. And I like that because ultimately fashion is cyclical, right? So things go and come, and it seems like that's kind of what's coming. And I'm all here for it because I think that it's great for men to experiment with different silhouettes. I think that a lot of men were getting their knickers in a twist because a man was wearing, jeans that have an interesting shape. I don't know why people had their knickers in a twist, but yeah, a lot of people, because of these, like, were really going crazy with the jeans. You had people searching Celine jeans all over the internet. People couldn't have enough of it. Everyone wanted a pair. And apparently, like, Celine sold a lot of jeans during the halftime show, which is crazy because isn't it quite funny that someone is saying, what does knickers in a twist mean? It's a British term. Maybe Google it. I won't explain to you what it means to get your knickers in a twist. But yeah, it's great. I just like it. Even though it caused a stir, I absolutely like that Kendrick Lamar has the confidence to wear these sort of things. And also, it's quite funny because during the Super Bowl, people pay so much money for an ad space, right? But then Celine, they're just, the stylist put, and I don't know if obviously money was involved with the stylist Taylor McNeil, who styled Kendrick Lamar. I don't know if like Celine paid, but they definitely wouldn't like have paid as much as a lot of companies would have paid for, a 30-second space ad space for the Super Bowl. So they won. They actually, to me, were the overall winners of the Super Bowl overall, especially from a marketing standpoint. And it's really good because Celine is another one of those brands where we're going to see a debut very soon via Michael Ryder, who's obviously at Celine. So I'm looking forward to see what he does. I wonder if he's going to, just because now it's trending, if he's going to really push these jeans, especially for men, even though the next show is a women's wear show. Well, it should be at least. But it's really going to be interesting to see if they start pushing this because it's like the silhouette of the hour, so to speak. In my humble opinion, he looked handsome and he's brilliant. Yeah, I think he looked great, to be fair. It's quite funny that a lot of Americans in the chat don't know what getting your knickers in a twist means. I didn't actually know that that's that much of a British phrase, because obviously it's just something that people here say all the time. Just me that thinks it's weird the post itself doesn't show Kendrick in the jeans. What post are you talking about? Like, are we not tired of baggy jeans? I don't think it's a case of like whether we're tired or not tired. I think the great thing about what Kendrick Lamar was wearing is that it's very it's different, and I just think we need a variety. I like a fashion landscape for men where people are wearing baggy jeans, skinny jeans, flared jeans, straight cut, boot cut jeans, all at the same time. So people are gravitating to the silhouette that I guess they gravitate towards, or that works the best for them, or that they think looks nice on their body. And that's what I love. It's just more about experimentation, more so than us moving from trend to trend to trend. I just like the variety. That's what I'm a big fan of. So the biggest takeaway for me about Kendrick Lamar wearing this and kind of the noise that it created is it creating more variety in menswear. And maybe a lot of men that aren't too privy to the grunge scene and kind of the style of denim that they wear, and kind of being like, oh, I can wear that. Or maybe they're just mainly a hip hop fan and they're like, okay, I feel very comfortable to wear that right now. Serving Matrix says, Eddie is such a strange choice for such a black performance. Is he though? Because I mean, denim is very democratic in the sense that it doesn't really matter what your race is or what like it's denim cuts across all creeds, all colors, all social, economic positions. Like it cuts across everything, to be honest. The fashion default is definitely not baggy jeans, broken outside. Damn. Rachel says we should live in a world where men are comfortable wearing different cuts and fits every day. 100%. 100%. Wait, Pharrell's LV seemed like the missing choice, especially since he defended Pharrell in the beef. I guess you could make an argument that maybe that would have been beneficial for them to do, like to use Pharrell, since Pharrell kind of has the same style. But sometimes these things come down to very pragmatic things, like the stylist. Who does the stylist have connections with? Which brand is it easier for the stylist to pull denim from of that style? Maybe it's not as easy to pull from LV because they don't have the same connections that another stylist has. Sometimes these things are really political too. So even though there might be 10 different brands that make the same silhouette, and it makes, I guess, the most cultural sense to go with one specific designer, but then it might be difficult to, work with that sort of stuff. Not Cobb saying that Eddie's in his swag era. That's funny. Swag era is insane. The problem isn't comfort, but men actually are victims of violence from strangers more than women by like 10x. Sometimes you can't wear zesty even if we wanted to. First of all, why is it zesty? We need to get past this. How is wearing flare jeans? And obviously I'm not saying you, I know Saj, I'm just saying that because this is what the terminology that people use. Why do people call it zesty? Why is it, what is zesty about it? I don't understand. It says, did you see the Trust post about the jeans? I didn't, but let's have a look. But why is it zesty? It's just a silhouette of jeans. Why? We really need to get past, we're so behind as a society. We really, really need to get past that. Yes, of course, there are people that their homophobia is so strong, and I find it so weird. I genuinely think that there's something mentally wrong with them, that seeing a man wearing a silhouette that they're not used to elicits such a violent response in their mind that they resort to attacking people. I find that really strange. So yeah, there is that reality, but of course, that doesn't happen all the time. People make it seem like you literally step out of your house and someone tackles you to the ground for wearing flares. It doesn't happen a lot. It does happen sometimes, but people get attacked for all different reasons. But yeah, the homophobia that some men exhibit is insane. It's insane. I genuinely think it's a mental regression, genuinely. How can you just see someone wearing trousers and get so angry about it? The person isn't disturbing you. They're not doing anything to you. And there's just something in your mind that's yeah, let me attack this person. I just find it there must be something wrong with you. There really, really must be something wrong with you. Let's see the Trust Archive post on Instagram. Significant of Kendrick's Celine flare jeans. Okay, they're talking about how it's a throwback to the OGs. Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl halftime performance was a carefully constructed statement, with each detail carrying weight, including his choice of flare jeans by Celine. Designed by Eddie Simon, the jeans were a nod to Simon's long-standing fascination with 1970s rock icons, particularly Serge Gainsbourg. Simon has often referenced his wardrobe in his work, citing him as one of his favorite artists and a cornerstone of his aesthetic language. But in the context of Kendrick's performance, the flares became more than a designer's homage. They tapped into a deep lineage of black music, fashion, and resistance. Yeah, of course, I can see where this is going. Yeah, because of the people that used to wear flares back in the day. Yeah, but then again, this is a good point. But then also you need to remember that at the time when a lot of black artists were wearing, we were talking about the Furious 5 and stuff, that was just the trend of the time also. Okay, they talked about it here. Flare jeans were a dominant silhouette in the 1970s, an era that saw the rise of both disco and hip hop. Yeah, exactly. So it's not necessarily so much that it was just a distinctively black thing. It was more of an overall cultural thing. But yeah, people were definitely wearing flares a lot in the 70s, that's for sure. So this is a good point to bring because people are almost making it seem. There was a conversation online where people are almost saying that no one wears that in hip hop and it's not really a hip hop thing. And I don't know why people are just so close minded when it comes to clothing. It really shocks me. Jay says, you got to remember the American mind is uniquely stupid. People are regressing. That wasn't clear from a resounding Trump victory. No, I don't think it's an American problem. I think it's a worldwide problem. I think in the UK, people will also attack you for wearing things that they deem to be like gay or something like that. I don't think it's a distinctively American thing. I just think that a lot of men just have issues, genuinely. I just think a lot of them they just have a lot of issues. But yeah, let's move on. Let's see what other points they make. I mean, do you know what this reminds me of? Let me go on YouTube. Let me show you guys something. That I'm like, this is what it reminds me of. So it reminds me of this kind of stuff here, like Soul Train. What people were wearing during the 70s. And you can see the variety in silhouettes because obviously here they're wearing flares, but then some people are wearing like slimmer trousers. And there was variety even in the flares. So some people had like wider flares, and then you had people that had slimmer flares. So when I think of like the 70s, I think of Soul Train, I think of kind of what they used to wear. Like you can see like so many people are wearing flares. So it was more like it was just a trend overall in the time. And this is why we say fashion is cyclical. Things go and they come and they go and they come. So yeah, I just don't know why people have such an issue with people wearing this stuff. Flared jeans just look bad when seen through edgy gas station sunglasses. Why wasn't skinny jeans zesty to people though? Do you know what's funny? I feel like skinny jeans were zesty to people because I remember when let me just run that back. When I used to wear skinny jeans, because I've told you guys this story all the time, but I'll say it again. When I was living in London, well, I mean, I'm back in there now, but when I was younger, living in London, I was really obsessed with American fashion. I was really into American fashion, so I used to follow a lot of what Americans used to do. So during the swag era, I used to, yeah, he's going to say I was a jerker, yeah. So during the swag era, I used to dress that way. Like I used to wear colorful skinny jeans. I used to wear Vlados and DCs and Vans, like really colorful Vans and Nike Dunks and big Nikes. I've shown you guys images of like my outfits. Let me embarrass myself and show you guys some images from that era. Let me show you guys because some of you are new, so you wouldn't have seen like some of those images. Let me put some of those on the screen because it's quite funny. It's just quite hilarious. But anyway, I used to dress that way, and I used to wear like studded belts and shutter shades, and I used to wear like cropped bomber jackets and like stuff like that. I thought it was cool as hell. I used to wear snapbacks and all those things that I used to wear in London at the time. No one used to dress like that. It was so out of the ordinary. Even though everyone was dressing like that in especially California, where I was living, no one was dressing like that. So everyone was like, bro, what are you wearing? What are you wearing? Your jeans are too tight. Your jeans are too tight. Sometimes they would make like homophobic jokes. Obviously, I didn't care, but like they would make homophobic jokes. They would say like all these things, bro, that's gay. So this mentality that, you know, people didn't see skinny jeans as zesty, I feel like people saw skinny jeans as zesty. I definitely feel like people did. I definitely feel like people did. Let me show you guys one of my outfits from all the way back then. So this is one of my outfits from that period, right? You can see me there doing the color. This is when I used to wear skinny jeans. So you can see on the right hand side, I'm wearing skinny jeans. I took out the black laces. I swapped them for red laces. You can see on the left with my shoes. What I've done there is I basically switched out the laces and put neon green laces. And then I had checkered socks to make it even more neon. And I used to jerk. That's how I used to look when I used to jerk, right? And when I used to dress that way, because in London in 2009, people weren't dressing that way. So people used to be like, bro, what are you wearing? Like, bro, what are you wearing? Why are your jeans that tight, bro? Like, bro. So all of that to say, people were saying that, you know, dressing that way was zesty around the time. People were definitely saying that dressing that way was zesty, if we're going to be like very real, if we're going to be real. So I just think that, once again, people have an issue with taking to clothing styles that aren't what they're used to. But I've always found that strange. I always find it really, really strange. Let's go back to the Trust Archive post. Let's see what else they've got for us. Okay, they've got images, different hip-hop eras, people wearing this style of jeans and trouser to further bring home the point. But the connection between disco and hip-hop has often been erased in favor of a narrative that pits them against each other. The revisionist history stems in part from the 1979 Disco Demolition Night in Chicago, a violent and racially charged event disguised as an anti-commercial protest. Oh, yeah. But this tends to be the case with loads of genres, even when we think of like rock, for example. This has happened with rock too. A lot of the way that, you know, a lot of black people that were early in the days of rock used to dress kind of gets erased. And then when you dress like that now, people are like, why are you dressing like a white boy? And it's like, read a book. It's like, read a book. Or like, learn about history. Yeah, it's a big issue. It's a big issue. Nowadays, handsome and well-dressed / kept is equal to gay. Yeah, and I find that really weird. Like, if you're a man, people in society are so backwards. If you're a man and you care about your appearance, it's seen as like feminine. Like, that's how people see it. Like, if you have like a skincare routine or you actually care about skincare and stuff like this, like, bro, why do you know so much about skincare, bro? So odd. So odd. So odd. Really weird. When I think of flares, I think of Shaft, Truck Turner, Black Dynamite. Yeah. Yeah. I see that. No, I never lived in California. I said I was inspired by what people are wearing in California. I've never actually lived in California. I've been there loads of times, but I never actually lived there. I remember when Sir David Beckham caused this with his Metro. Yeah, didn't even David Beckham wear like that style of jean once? Let me see if I can find it. I swear David Beckham wore flares at one point. He must have. He must have. I remember that fit. It was like, it was this kind of, when he was dressing like this, when he had like this style of stuff, when he was dressing a bit grungy, he used to wear that style of jean too. And people had their knickers in an absolute twist. I'm going to keep saying that now because the Americans don't know what I mean, which I find hilarious. Like, knickers in a twist. MJ himself was wearing flares. That's facts also. That is very true. The naysayers will be regretting it when they're 40 with their face like a leather satchel. Jeez. Oh my gosh. Jeez. That's insane. That's actually insane. And not someone saying David Beckham had a Geordie Shore style. That's insane. That's crazy. But yeah, anyway, that's the story on the whole Kendrick Lamar jeans. I just wanted to address it because I don't know why people made such an issue of it. I absolutely loved his outfit, and I think that he's going to help to push menswear forward because it was such a big moment in menswear, especially. I haven't seen people talk about a celebrity's outfit this much in a very long time. People talk about celebrities a lot during the Met Gala, but during those events, those aren't really clothes that people can actually wear, or those aren't clothes that are really going to lead to any sort of trend in menswear or women's wear, anything like that, because a lot of those dresses are like handmade couture dresses or, archive pieces. No one has access to that. But what people do have access to are some flared jeans. The Prince would make Alpha podcast to shake. Yeah, for sure. Prince would have people losing their mind. Even people like, just skip my mind. Who is that Chicago Bulls player who used to dress that? Dennis Rodman. There we go. Dennis Rodman would have had, imagine Dennis Rodman in like 2025. People would have been going insane. People would have absolutely lost their minds. Like people would have gone berserk if Dennis Rodman was around in a social media age. Like if that's when he was like popular. Obviously he's still around, but you know what I mean. Crazy. Let me read a few comments, then we'll move to the next topic. Flares in skincare, yes please. Getting anything other than skinny jeans for guys where I live is really difficult. I live in Scotland where choice for guys is minimal. Really? Normally, with other than skinny jeans, you can get like normally straight jeans. Because obviously you live in Scotland, I feel like you have a similar clothing landscape to, England, where I am. And I feel like, there's basically skinny, slim, or straight. That's kind of all you have for men, really. You don't really... Flares are really hard to find for men. You have to really look. No, wait, actually, these jeans are very normal. Migos were doing it years ago. Yeah, so many people have done it, like, not that long ago. Like, even we were saying Pharrell Williams dresses like that. Which is why, one, I don't understand the outrage. And two, people saying it's not hip-hop. Like, bro, I didn't hear, but I read people on Twitter saying, bro, this is too zesty for hip-hop, bro. Hip-hop is getting zesty, bro. And it's like, if you look throughout the history of hip-hop, people have been dressing that way. It's like, bruh, we just need to progress as men. We just really need to progress past some of the mentalities that we exhibit when it comes to clothing. It shouldn't elicit such a response from people. I think it's really strange that it does. But yeah, anyway, the next topic I wanted to talk about is this topic. The fact that our understanding of luxury fashion and the luxury industry is really changing, and how, status symbols are changing. I think it's quite normal, and historically it's always been this way, where the people that are part of the upper society, the upper class, they always have certain signifiers of wealth, and then when they are adopted by other people, they have to shift and find other signifiers. So these things always move, like luxury trends always shift and they always move with time. So we are now seeing more and more, especially with the luxury slowdown in terms of fashion, we are seeing more and more these luxury conglomerates investing in hotels, investing in experiences, investing in sports. We're seeing them investing in cafes. I mean, something that really comes to mind that has been all the rage recently is this, right? The Prada Cafe in Harrods that everyone was going to. And it's really, really about experiences. Like, people are more than happy to spend on overpriced Prada coffee because, you know what? It's Prada. And my teacup is Prada. And my bag is Prada. And And my cake says Prada on it, and my coffee, it says Prada on it, and people are like super, super obsessed. Let's
Come with me to try
see
the
some of
Prada
these
Cafe in
videos.
London. It's inside the Harrods department store and there's indoor and outdoor seating, and I highly recommend making reservations. I was actually surprised by the prices. They were not that bad. For the cappuccino, it was $6.50. I thought they would be way more, and these desserts were £15 each. Come with me to try the Prada Cafe in
£15
London.
each is crazy, by the way. But yeah, so experiences seems to be all the rage. And I saw an article via BOF. I won't read it, but you can read it if you want to. It's a really good article. But it basically talks about how hotels have started partnering with a lot of fashion brands, and a lot of these fashion brands are making sort of luxury merch for a lot of these hotels in many different ways. So obviously just like merch for people to wear, for people to buy, but then also, and it's kind of like you're buying into a lifestyle when you buy it, but then also aside from that, some of these brands are also working on making sportswear, because when you go to these really luxury hotels, you play sports like tennis. So now, why don't we work with a luxury brand and then make a tennis uniform specifically for guests of this hotel to buy? So the people that are frequent guests of this hotel can always wear their, ultra expensive tennis wear in collaboration with a luxury brand, right? So this is now where fashion is moving. This is where a lot of people are spending their money. Wait, people were stealing Prada branded cutlery. Oh my gosh, that's insane. It's never that serious. Hotels are visual artists' secrets, not so secret cash cows. Yeah, facts. That's very, very true. So that's where things are going. People are gonna start charging you $50 for coffee. They're gonna charge you, crazy amounts of money for a croissant. They're gonna charge you insane prices for a cheese melt, and that's just where things are going. But let's read through this article, because, and to summarize, I'll summarize before it gets to the part that I really want to read. But they kind of set the scene in this article, talking about the Walmart Birkin recently and how it almost was like people felt like it was inclusive. I obviously gave my thoughts on how I felt about it, because a bag that retails for tens of thousands of dollars, sometimes more, people could access the dupe for $100. And so it really diminished, well, I don't think it diminished, but that was how people saw it. Kind of the exclusivity of owning a bag and what it signifies, right? And so due to things like this and these things being too accessible, a lot of people are reaching for new status symbols for the 1%. So they talked about the likes of privacy and unplugging, the fact that, in an economic downturn where people are struggling, actually what is a big luxury right now is having leisure time and being able to do leisure activities, because everyone is just, drowning in work and workload, right? So kind of that's where things are moving. And these luxury conglomerates are trying to put themselves in the perfect position to capitalize on that. I just cannot fathom wanting to stay at the motherfucking Louis Vuitton hotel. Goddamn LV monogram all over the place. Just feels so bourgeois and cringe. Is this shit really for the rich rich? Apparently it is. Apparently it is. I find those things so tacky. I was watching a video yesterday about planes, like military planes and the history of military planes. And then I went on this really strange rabbit hole of just different kinds of airplanes and how they're designed. And then eventually I got into this rabbit hole of private jets and different types. And there was this really expensive private jet, and it was marketed and branded as like, let me see if I can find it. If I Google it, hopefully it comes up. It was like a Fendi, it was in collaboration with Fendi, right? And there was this private jet, and it just had Fendi logos all over it. And I was like, this is the worst interior I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, why would anyone want a private jet interior to just have Fendi logos all over it? I was like, why would you want that? I just don't understand that. And the person was really boasting, like, yeah, this is the only Fendi private jet. Everything is custom made by one of the best brands in the world, Fendi. And I was just so confused. Like, damn, there really is a market for all this, like, really tacky stuff. 24 karat gold chicken wings is an actual thing. Yeah, there's gold everything these days. I've seen a gold steak before. I already get motion sickness in planes. The all over monogram would send me over the edge. That's so funny. But yes, I've never honestly understood the obsession with brands. I don't get it. I don't really understand it. But yeah, so anyway, moving forward, they talk about, one of the biggest reasons why the ultra rich is resisting bougie status symbols is because high end brands are falling short on their promises, which has one time customers turning to new physical indicators. So obviously that's very true because the luxury industry, the quality has gone down, the prices go up, a lot of dupes are being made, so lots of people are just like tired of the whole thing for many different reasons, right? And even the fact that dupes have become like a really, really big market. So that is really how luxury is changing, and that's why going back to Kering, you see that Kering is focusing more on experiences and things that don't involve clothing. That's why Kering Beauty is so important to their strategy moving forward, right? Because they need to actually work on making money in the experience space. Yes, also wellness. Wellness is part of it too. A lot of luxury is getting involved in wellness these days, for sure. In the States, bloody healthcare is a luxury. That's facts, though. Healthcare is super expensive, especially in the States. Like, geez. Private healthcare is really weird. And from my understanding, obviously, I don't live in the US, so you guys would know better than me. But from my understanding, if you're middle class, it's kind of hard to get healthcare. And then if you're working class, obviously, you just can't afford it. So if you're working class, you can receive certain credits from the government, but then you can't afford healthcare. So you're at the mercy of the credits that you have. If you're middle class, you might not get the same credits, and then you can't really afford comprehensive health insurance. So it's only really if you're like super rich that you can afford like really comprehensive health insurance. So basically, if you're not super rich, you're just fucked health wise. You just have to hope that something bad doesn't happen to your health. Otherwise, you could go into like serious debt, which is insane to think about. Really, really insane. There's been an increase in advertising for health insurance here in the UK too. Yeah, that would make a lot of sense because the NHS is really bad. It's really NHS is on its knees. It really, really is. Like NHS is so bad. I stopped using the NHS for like dental stuff. I just pay for it out of pocket. Luckily, because like dental care is not super expensive in the UK. I know in other countries, dental care seems to be ultra expensive. Like in the US, I think dental care seems to be like really, really expensive. It's not that expensive here. The payoff on getting customers in is extremely profitable after time. Do you mean in terms of health insurance? Yeah, probably. Probably. My government is starving the beast too, and insurance companies are rubbing their greedy hands. Yeah, fact. So, yeah, we're in an experience world, guys, where people want to have their branded hotel merch, and people want to have, a Casablanca tennis outfit when they go to a hotel in Casablanca. This is kind of what luxury is moving to, and I think this is definitely the future of luxury. And we've even seen like so many stats where people are spending less on things and more on experiences, right? Like, let me even see if I can bring up some of those stats. And obviously, these luxury conglomerates, they're not stupid. They can see how a lot of these things are going. Right, watch brands are doing exclusive travel experiences if you buy certain watches. I don't think that's anything new, though. Hasn't that always been a thing? It's the same thing with cars, where with cars, if you buy certain cars, you can go to like all the events all over the world for these car companies, and it's kind of more like a networking thing because you meet other people that own these really expensive cars at these events, and you just talk about, yeah, I've got of the new Ferrari Roma Spider, and it's like, oh, I've got an 812 super fast. It goes 0 to 60 in way too fast, and yeah, it's great, 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 great. How much? What mods have you done to your 812 super fast? Great, great. I have a new exhaust. I installed this new exhaust. Now it spits flames. That's how I imagine those events go. They probably don't go that way. This is also a thing too. The F1 experience. That's definitely a thing. That's 100% definitely a thing. Yeah. Black tires, huh? Nice, nice. I've got the Chrome Classics on my Ferrari A12. Oh gosh, man, that's funny. I've got the chrome spokes. That's how these guys talk. I have the chrome spokes on my Ferrari. I have the hard top convertible. It's called a Ferrari Portofino M. You know, the M, it stands for modificata. So it's an updated version of the of the Ferrari Portofino, just in case you weren't aware. It's really good. I think it's very tacky these days to have black spokes. I have chrome spokes. It's more classic. You know what I mean? Um, I don't know why in my head that's how like people in these events talk. I don't know why I have that in my head. They probably don't talk that way. Goodwood on a bad hair day. Oh gosh. Don't get me wrong. I love cars. I just don't like some of the communities around cars because so many people are so pretentious when it comes to cars. They're not driving the car because they like the car. They're driving the car because they're like, yeah, I drive a Ferrari. Look at me. I have, all of you are peasants. I have a LaFerrari. Yes, I just have two LaFerraris. I'm about to buy my third. Um, have you ever driven an F50 before? Well, I have two. You ever driven an 812 Superfast? It's absolutely lovely experience. I don't like it at all. Fashion is supposed to be art, not elitists that want to show off their wealth. Oh yeah, I'm totally with you. But I think once again, fashion is in cycles the same way trends are in cycles. So meaning, I think luxury fashion as we see it is not dead, but we need to change what brands we think of as luxury. If we think of the brands under these conglomerates that just care about, you know, selling the most and nothing else, those to me aren't the luxury brands anymore. The luxury brands are the smaller brands creeping up, and the brands that are doing really cool stuff. They're working hard in their ateliers. They're making really good handmade pieces. You know, the artisans that you see in Japan, the shoemakers in Japan, that to me is luxury, not buying some terrible footwear from some fashion brand. With just everything being glued together, like that to me is not really luxury. Just because it's expensive, to me doesn't make it luxury. I think rich people have always been tied to fashion. It's just that brands aren't delivering on their promises anymore. Yeah, facts. True, true, true. What better experience can there be than throwing your money out the window, as Karl Lagerfeld used to say? That is kind of true, though. Karl Lagerfeld has all those like crazy quotes. He always has all those like really, really strange and interesting quotes. Also, thank you very much, Cloth Base, for joining as a member. I really appreciate it. There's too much money on luxury houses for them to be fully creative. Oh yeah, 100%. Which is why, if you want creativity and art in fashion, you can't really look at these brands that, you know, have to keep growing past the billions that they already earn. Um, so yeah, that's just how it is. Just how it goes. Just how it goes, guys. But yeah, it's like I just feel like car people are so pretentious. Like those events, it's like, oh, you have a Porsche 911. What model? Oh, great. I just, I have a Porsche 911 GT3 RS. There's not many in the world, especially my hand side of the drive. It's very rare. It's I had to be a Porsche customer for many years to achieve this car. Off topic, but I miss characters like Lagerfeld. It doesn't feel like there are any characters left in the fashion world. Well, I mean, to be honest, when we think about Karl Lagerfeld, you need to remember that he was also really problematic. For every interesting fun quote he had, he was ultra problematic. So I think a big reason why we don't have those characters is because they probably wouldn't have the leeway to say some of the insane stuff that Karl Lagerfeld said. So I don't know if having those kind of characters is good. I mean, we had characters like John Galliano that was larger than life. Look at what he did. So I don't know. Is it a good thing or a bad thing to have characters? I'll let you guys decide. Not someone saying we have Kanye. Jeez. Actually, speaking about Kanye, let's talk about Kanye briefly. So, speaking about Kanye, if you guys weren't aware, Kanye quite recently, over the weekend, he went on the craziest rant I've ever seen in a very long time on Twitter, saying every slur humanly possible, saying every negative thing humanly possible, all in the realm of freedom. I don't know if he was off his meds. I don't know what was wrong with him, but he went absolutely berserk. And everyone is like, oh, all his fans are like, oh, he's just trolling, bro. This is just freedom of speech, bro. All this stuff. I genuinely feel like Kanye has managed, or Ye, as he calls himself, he's managed to literally brainwash his audience. Like they can't think for themselves anymore. They just have Kanye brain, literally. Yeah, the Yeezy Super Bowl commercial was one of the craziest things I've ever seen. Let me actually see if I can put that on the screen. You guys actually need to see this commercial. I genuinely think that this man is off his meds. Let me see if I can find it. 1 second. This man has lost all sense of self. He's completely gone. Completely gone. I genuinely think that he has nothing left to say creativity wise, so now he's just resorted to trolling. Like his music recently has not been great. He's talking about, using AI in his music, and I genuinely believe that's why his music has been a bit lackluster. So I just think now all he resorts to is trolling to keep attention and stuff. But I just don't, understand what all of that madness is about. But yeah, let me find this commercial because it was insane. Yeah, this is the commercial that he did during the Super Bowl. It was so stupid. Let me see if I can get a video.
I spent like all the money for the commercial on these new teeth. So once again, I had to shoot it on the iPhone. Go to Yeezy.com. So what's up, guys?
You cannot tell me that there isn't something wrong with this man. You literally cannot tell me that there isn't something really seriously wrong about this man, right? So someone said, I've seen people saying it's performance art. I mean, I don't think the kind of things that he says are performance art. I don't think so. I honestly don't think so. So anyway, big news today is that Shopify have actually shut down his storefront because he was selling t-shirts with swastikas on it. And so Shopify said, it's against their terms and essentially violated their terms. This is an article via CNN, that Yeezy.com actually violated Shopify's terms. So they took it down. which is very interesting. And I think that this is an overall sort of shakedown once again to kind of stop Ye from having all these like stupid antics that he keeps doing. And I think at this point, we just need to accept that he's far gone and we need to stop giving him all the attention. Even though I am a bit of a hypocrite because I'm covering the story right now. But it's just to bring awareness to the madness that is Ye, the human being right now. Yeah, it's kind of like this. Cringy shock couture, but cranked up to the extreme. Like ERD, facts. Is but like all the way to the extreme, right? I don't think that's performance art at all. I just think he's just tapped. I don't think, not everything has to be really super influential and stuff. Yeah, I don't think so. I think people like to over intellectualize these things, and that's what his fans do a lot of times. But yeah, this man, I genuinely think there's something very wrong with him, and that rant that he went on Twitter was insane. Like I've never actually seen anything like it. Honestly, haven't. Like the guy completely lost his marbles. I think he just rode on the Elon train after the controversy. Yeah, like even when he was going on that crazy rant on Twitter, he kept referencing Elon, like being, thank you, Elon, for giving me the freedom to be able to go on this rant and to be able to have free speech and say what I want. And he kept saying all those things. And now there's a rumor going around that even Elon is starting to distance himself from Ye. Elon is like not even the greatest of people himself. So the fact that he might be distancing himself from Ye, that's the rumor, is insane. That is actually insane. Do you think Kanye lurks on 4chan? Probably, because I feel like he sees everything. I've seen Ye in the past post people's Instagram posts, and like these are people with not many followers. Like I feel like he sees a lot of stuff online, so I feel like he probably does, to be honest. I think it's really hard to discern his problems because he's insulated by so much wealth and infamy. Even if he needs help, he's kind of beyond it unless he seeks it out. Yeah, I remember when he first started exhibiting these sort of what seems to be like mental health issues, and he had friends in his circle that were trying to correct him in a way. Maybe correct is not the right word, but kind of trying to bring him back on the right path and trying to tell him that, you know, what the way you're behaving is not okay. And he just cut all of them off. Rather than taking to criticism, he cut them off. And I feel like when you're as rich as him, he's literally a billionaire, you just get to a point where anyone that doesn't say what you want, you can kind of just insulate them. And you can kind of just be like, I don't care what you have to say, I'm never going to talk to you again. And then you'll just be full of yes men who just want to be around you because you have a lot of money. And they stand to benefit from just being around. They just want to be around you and kind of leech off of you in a way. And so, yeah, it's really sad that when you get to that level of insulation and fame and wealth, you're kind of just in a bubble of stupidity and you can never actually like get out of it. And it's so funny, like going back to his fans being brainwashed, they talk like Ye is the second coming of Albert Einstein. This man will hop on Twitter and say the most bigoted things and people will be like, oh, there's a bigger plan to it. You guys don't understand. Ye is always ahead of his time. I just don't get it. I don't get it. But yeah, that's the Ye story, guys. And that's my last story of the day. But thank you very much, guys, for tuning in. It was really fun discussing all these topics. If you guys are on Spotify, you can watch my live streams back on Spotify. If you want to learn about more effective ways to learn about fashion, I have an ebook on that. You can check the link in the description. You can also support the channel via Patreon. And on that note, I shall be seeing you guys in the next live stream. Thank you very much.